All right, sorry, excuse me. But First Kings 3:5 through 28. Again, the topic being asked with purpose, and as I was stating, it's so important for us to understand the importance of why we ask for certain things, or why we ask God to do certain things in our lives. And not only do we have to understand why we are asking, but we have to understand the circumstances that we are asking under. So yesterday as I'm praying, and before yesterday when I was praying, I had asked God to basically, I ask him all the time, as I rise up, whenever I come forth to do Bible studies. The scripture is 1 Kings 3:5 through 28. But I've been asking God, to every day that I wake up, to give me a new message. You know what I mean? To give me a message with purpose, to give me a message that will speak to someone's right now situation, to give me a message that will sit with someone, you know what I mean, and that will help them in the time or the space or the place that they find themselves in. And I've been asking God, this every morning as I wake up or every night before I go to bed. And God has been answering, and God has been doing, and God has been giving me new words and everything like that. And I've been asking God to lead me even in the scriptures and in the Bible studies that I bring forth. And I ask God this because I never want to come from a place of self. You know what I mean? I never want to come from a place of teaching my own theories or my own logic or my own knowledge or whatever it is. I want to come from a place teaching that God is teaching through me, and that God is giving me a profound word from heaven, that can connect with a right now time. So God gave me this 1 Kings 3:5 through 28, and the topic of asking with purpose. And yesterday as I was praying, God had spoke to me in the spirit, and he said, be specific in your asking. And when he said that to me, immediately he took me to this passage of scripture, because we're going to learn about Solomon, and we're going to learn about how Solomon was very specific in what he asked God for when God had presented himself to him in a dream. And he told Solomon to ask of what he shall of God. And Solomon began to ask for what was necessary for the time that he was in and for the position that he was in as king. And that was so important. And so I knew it was from God, and I knew that it was God answering, my prayers and everything like that. So I say all that to say that God is a prayer answering God, and that he can do what it is that you are asking him to do. You have to firmly believe and trust that he is capable of doing it, and you have to know that he is able to do it, for he is able, and he is the great I am. And so there's nothing too hard for God to do. But when God spoke that to me, that's the message for today, is to be more specific in the things that you are asking for. And don't only be specific, be understanding of what you're asking for. And the definition of specific is clearly defined or identify, a precise detail. That means knowing exactly why you are asking for something and what purpose it actually serves to your life, to your right now situation, to your season, to whatever it is that you are facing or that you are going through in your life at this present moment. And so I'm going to go into a word of prayer, and then we're going to get right into it. But Father God, I thank you for this opportunity, God, Lord, to be present before your people. God, I ask, God, that you come forth, God, in this word, God, and that you speak to all of us, God, that you give us all an ear to hear what your spirit is saying to our church, God, that you allow us to set aside pride and ego and arrogance, God, that you allow us to set aside ourselves, God, and that you allow us, God, Lord, to allow you, God, to come into our homes, on our jobs, wherever we are, God, that you come in and reside with us, God. For you said we're 2, 3 or more gathered in your name, that you are in the midst. And we just thank you for your presence. We thank you for coming and being with us in this moment, God, throughout our day, God. We ask that you continue to cover us and keep us. Remember all of our families, friends, loved ones, even our enemies, even our co-workers, God. Remember every one of your people, God, Lord, those from the least to the greatest, from the greatest to the least, God, those in the White House down to the street corners, God, those in the pulpits, God, Lord, those that are in their homes teaching, God, those that are going to and fro throughout this world teaching, God. Remember all of your people, God, and get us back to a place of honesty. Get us back to a place of seeking your face, God. Get us back to a place of revival, God. Get us back to a place of deliverance, God, and to a place, God, to where we are leading people to you and not to ourselves, God, to where it is more about you than it is about anything else, God. In Jesus' name, we thank thank you. We thank you. We love you. And again, bless this word and bless every ear that hears, God. In Jesus' mighty name, God, have your way. Amen. Again, 1 Kings chapter 3, verses 5 through 28. The topic is ask with purpose. Again, God is wanting us to be more specific in our asking. And the only way that you can be specific in your asking, again, is to understand your situation. So 3 things I want to talk about today. The first being, as I stated, in order to know what you need, you must first understand your situation. A lot of times we are asking for things and we are not completely understanding first why we are asking for these things, or we are not understanding how something better serves our situation. Another thing we're going to talk about is a lot of times we ask for things that has nothing to do with what we are going through. We have to realize that because I may be in a situation of lack, or because I may be in a certain situation, it's not for me to ask for something that will get me out of this situation. I need something that's going to help me understand my situation. I need something that's stronger than something that's material. You know what I mean? I need something that's stronger than just money, or just a new car, or a new home, or a new relationship, or whatever it may be that we find ourselves asking, God for. And we have to understand that a lot of times we are asking for the wrong things. What does money serve you if your soul ain't right? What does money serve you if your mind or your heart isn't right? What does it serve you? So you have to understand that, again, first, in order to know what you need, you must first understand your situation. And then a lot of times we have to realize that the things that we're asking for has nothing to do with the situations that we go through. And the third thing is that the goal is to ask for things that are attached to your purpose, because you never know what situation will arise. You never know what situation you will find yourself in, and you want to be able to have the necessary tools, the necessities that you need, that will be able to guide you through, that will be able to encourage you and keep you strengthened through whatever it is that you're going through. So those are the 3 keys that we're going to learn today. Again, I'll restate: in order to know what you need, you must first understand your situation. A lot of times we ask for things that has nothing to do with what we are going through. And the goal is to always ask for things that are attached to your purpose, because you never know what situation will arise along your journey. And so we're going to get into the word. And it's, again, 1 Kings, for those that are just joining, 1 Kings 3, 5 through 28. And it starts off and it says, at Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night, and God said, ask. God said, ask. It says, what shall I give you? This is what God is demanding us. This is what God is offering us right now. He's saying the windows of heaven are open. They are ready to pour you out blessings that you don't have room enough to receive. They are ready to pour upon your life miracles and new beginnings and new opportunities and new doors. But all you have to do is ask. And a lot of times we have a problem with asking, because a lot of times we don't, again, understand why we are asking for certain things, or a lot of times the things that we ask for, we feel that God is not able to do, when God is able to do exceedingly and abundantly above anything that we can ask of him. It just has to be a part or according to his will. So it says, at Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night, and God said, ask. What shall I give you? And Solomon said, you have shown great mercy to your servant David, my father, because he walked before you in truth, in righteousness, and uprightness of heart with you. You have continued his greatness for him, and you have given him a son to sit on his throne as it is this day. Wait, you mean to tell me that you took care of David's lineage, that you carried his legacy on, that you allowed so many great things to happen for David, and it was all because he decided to walk in truth, in righteousness, and uprightness, and kindness and everything like that. You mean to tell me that all these good things happened to David because he decided to choose the best part of life rather than choosing the side of life that the world says that you can have and you can be comfortable in, and you can still be blessed in God and you can still succeed in God? You mean to tell me that David knew his situation better than the world knew his situation? And this is a lot of times where we fall short too. A lot of times we fall short in the area of not knowing our situation, but David understood his situation. He understood, in order to be blessed, I must first live righteous. I must first live in truth. I must first walk in uprightness. I must first carry out the will. I must first seek ye first the kingdom of God, and then all these blessings and all these things shall be added unto me. But in order to get the blessings, in order to get my goodness, in order to get my forwardness, in order to get my best, I have to first comply with God's rules and regulations. And it's not so much that it's rules and regulations, but it's the way of living that pleases and serves God, so that he can give us exactly what he desires to give us in life. It's the exact same way that it is with your parents. When your parents say that you are only allowed to do this if you if you're good in school, or if you're doing good, or if you're cleaning up, or if you think you can't be rewarded without doing something that is coming from a place or that is honorable to be rewarded. So David was rewarded, and Solomon is understanding that I'm not just in this great seat. I'm not in this seat of being a king just because of who I am, or just because I'm David's son. No, because I understand that it's through your mercy and your grace and your love and your respect and honor for what David had done, for what my father had done, that you have now taken his seed and placed him in this seat of leadership, of kingdom. And it's 1 Kings 3:5-28. And so it says that now, O Lord, my God, you have made your servant king instead of my father David, but I am a little child. This lets you know that God does not care how old or how young you are, that when God sees fit to use you, that God will use you no matter your age, no matter your situation, no matter your circumstances, no matter what it is that you're going through. When God has purpose on your life, when God has a plan for your life, God will use you at whatever age he decides to use you at. So Solomon says, now, O Lord, my God, you have made your servant king instead of my father David, but I am a little child. I do not know how to go in, or I do not know how to go out or to come in. It says, and your servant is in the midst of your people whom you have chosen, a great people, too numerous to be numbered or counted. Therefore, give your servant an understanding heart to judge your people, that I may discern between good and evil. For who is able to judge this great people of yours? Who is able to judge this great people of yours without having the proper knowledge, without having the proper understanding, without having the proper wisdom to do so? And this is going back to my point of, in order to know what you need, you must first understand your situation. Starting in verse 7, we begin to see that, well, literally in verse 6, we begin to see that Solomon is understanding, and he is very knowledgeable of the position that he is in. Lord, I am only but a child, but you have put me in this great position, in a position that I know not what to do with. You put me in a position that I don't even have the maturity or the maturation level to understand, or to fully grasp, or to comprehend what it is that you have really put me over. Because again, you have put me over over a number of people that can't even be counted. And a lot of times we find ourselves in situations that we have never been in before. A lot of times we find ourselves in situations that are far out of our comfort zone. A lot of times we find ourselves thrust into roles or into leadership, not knowing what to do. But when you find yourself in these situations, instead of operating in pride, instead of operating in ego, instead of operating as if you know everything, why can't we have a heart like Solomon to say, you know what, Lord, I know that this task is too much for me. It's not too much for me. I understand this task is greater than what I can perceive it to be. And so in me knowing that, and me firmly understanding and knowing my situation and knowing the task that's at hand, this is what I'm gonna need from you since you told me to ask. Again, God is wanting us to be more specific in our asking. Ask with purpose. Don't just ask just to be asking. Know why you're asking for something. It says, therefore, I love that he says this. Understand, he could have said anything else. He could have said, God, give me all the finest jewelry. He could have said, God, give me all the gold. Give me all the women. Give me all of this. Give me all of that. Give me all the power. Give me whatever. Solomon could have said, give me all the money. He could have said, give me all the food, the best wine, everything that they had. He could have asked for anything in this situation, but he understood that the task was greater at hand. And so he says that, therefore, give to your servant an understanding heart. A lot of times we are not trying to understand our situation because we are too busy trying to get out of our situation. A lot of times we are not allowing ourselves to fully grasp what's going on because, again, we're looking at the escape or we're looking at the exit and we just enter the situation rather than looking at the lesson and looking at the test of a situation. And God, what is this showing me? God, what are you building in me here? God, what are you teaching me here? God, why are you having me in this situation? What is this going to grow or birth out of me? A lot of times we have to learn to sit and have an understanding heart and to understand that God does everything with reason. God does everything with a purpose. He is too wise. He is too knowledgeable just to throw us in any situation and to not have an outcome or to not have a lesson or to not have a test or to not have a growth or to not have something that will be birthed out of us or to not have purpose or destiny attached to what he has given us or what position or place he has placed us in. And so Solomon says, therefore, give to your servant an understanding heart. Why? Because I am a young king. I am but a child, but I'm in this position as king to rule over this nation of these people that I don't even understand. But God, these are your people. So I know that my greatest source in this situation is going to be you. I know that my greatest shoulder to lean on in this situation when I know not what to do is going to be you. So now that you have given me the ability to ask you and you told me to ask and I shall receive, or anything that I ask in your name shall be given unto me, this is what I'm going to ask for. Instead of asking for foolish things and instead of asking for things that are only going to make the situation worse or that's not going to help my situation, this is what I'm going to ask you for. I'm going to ask you for guidance. I'm going to ask you for wisdom. I'm going to ask you for understanding. I'm going to ask you for a heart to discern. I'm going to ask you for a heart full of understanding, and not only understanding, but compassion for your people when it comes time for me to be in this position to judge this people that I don't even know. So he says, therefore, give to your servant an understanding heart to judge your people that I may discern. A lot of times we have problems discerning what it is that we're going through because we are not going to God in the times that we should go to God. And a lot of times we're not understanding what's going on or who's in operation or what type of spirit is in operation. And a lot of times we don't understand our situations because we fail to discern them. And how can we discern them? By asking God for discernment. Again, get out of pride, get out of arrogance, get out of thinking that I know what to do. When you don't know what to do, it's always good to ask for help. You cannot be afraid to ask for help. There are times when I can read the word of God and I may not understand what I just read, but guess what? I know that I can go to God and God will give me discernment. God will give me understanding. God will give me knowledge and wisdom of what it is that I just read. And he will give me a message out of what I just read. But you have to have a heart that's willing and able to be in a place of discerning and understanding what you're going through. Because again, you don't want to just sit and be deceived. You don't want to just sit and go through something and not understand the depth of what it is that you are going through, but you want to be able to get every lesson out of whatever it is that you are going through so that when you come out on the other side, that you don't come out empty-handed. When you come out on the other side, that you don't have anything to offer to someone that's now entering that season that you just left out of. You want to be able to have something to give back. And so Solomon said, give me an understanding heart to judge your people, that I may discern between good and evil. Because a lot of times we can't tell a legit person from a fake person, a phony from afar. We can't understand. We can't tell who people really are, just because sometimes people smile in our face, we think that they are angels. But even the devil dresses himself up as a wolf in sheep clothing. A lot of times we don't understand who people really are, because they all giggles and smiles, or they seem nice, or they appear to be nice on the surface. But then when you get to know them truly, then you get to unveil their true colors, or you get to unveil who they really are. So Solomon said, instead of me sitting up here and allowing myself to be misled, or to allowing myself to be deceived by what seems good, I'm going to ask you to give me discernment so that I may know the difference between good and evil, that I may know the difference between what's good for me and what's not good for me, that I may know the difference between who's good for me and who's not good for me, that I may know the difference between who's my wife and who's an harlot, or who's here here to push me further to you, or who's here to distract me, who's here to bring me higher or pull me closer to you in my walk and in my journey with you, or who's here to pull me further away from you or pull me back into my old self. It is all so important for us to have the spirit of discernment, so that we will not be fooled, because the Bible says, first of all, we are not ignorant to Satan's devices, meaning that we are not ignorant to what the devil is trying to do. A lot of times we have a feeling, and we know when the devil is trying to mislead us. We know when he's trying to get us off course. We know when he's trying to throw us off track, but sometimes we give into it anyways. But Solomon said, in order for me to avoid these situations, let me ask for what I need. Let me ask for what is relevant to the current situation that I'm in. So he says, give me an understanding heart to judge your people, that I may discern between good and evil. For who is able to judge this great people of yours besides you? Who is able to understand a person or a human being like God? No one. No one, unless God gives you that discernment to understand. No one is able to understand a situation unless God allows you to either go through it, or God gives you the discernment or the wisdom or the knowledge to understand a situation or a person, or what they have been through, or what they have gone through, or where they are at in their lives. So God goes on and says that after Solomon asked for these things, it said that the speech pleased the Lord, that Solomon asked this thing. The speech, you want your asking to please God. You want your asking to really blow God's socks off. You really want it to blow his mind, because see, what a lot of times we think that God is wanting us to ask for is so minor to what it really is that he's looking for us to ask for. When we thinking that God is saying, okay, the heavens are open, and the first thing we ask for is $1. How about God, give me strength? How about God, I need deliverance? How about God, I need to be saved? I need more salvation. How about God, I need more of your word? How about God, I need more of your love? I need more of your compassion, more of your grace, more of your mercy. I need more understanding and knowledge and discernment to understand your word, or to understand what it is that you are doing in my life, or where you are leading me in life, or where you're trying to take me in life. God, I need more understanding of my situation. I need that more than I need $1 right now, because I know you will take care of my needs. If I just keep myself fixated and focused on your work, I know that you'll take care of my work. If I keep myself fixated and focused on your needs, I know that you'll take care of my needs. So I don't have to come to you and ask you for temporary things. I don't have to come to you and ask you for monetary things. I don't need to ask for those things, because I know that you know what I'm going through. I know that you know my situation, for you have written my story, and you know me greater than I know myself. So I know that at this point, I don't need to come asking you for $1. I don't need to come asking you for a new truck or new car, because you can bless me with those things. Those are easy for you to do. But God, this is what I need. I need an understanding heart. I need discernment, because I may be tricked, or I may be fooled by some people. I may not understand every situation out of my fleshly self, but if I'm connected to you more in the spirit, then I may understand what's going on around me, or I may understand the situation that much more at the end of the day. So he says that the speech pleased the Lord, that Solomon had asked him this. Then God said to him, because you have asked me this thing and have not asked, look, for long life, because you have not asked for yourself, for long life for yourself, nor have you asked for riches. Again, that's the first thing we ask God for, as if he's some Santa Claus or some genie. God, give me more money. God, I need more money. What about I need a better relationship with you? What about I need more of you in my life? I need more of your light. I need more of your glory. I need more of your spirit. These are the things that I need. But see, the speech pleased God because Solomon wasn't caught up on the irrelevant things. He wasn't caught up on the unnecessary things. He wasn't caught up on the things that had nothing to do with this position that he was just placed in. So when you find yourself being elevated in life, when you go to a new height or a new level, or you get a promotion on your job, don't ask God just for a pay raise. Ask God for the understanding of the position that you are getting ready to walk in. Ask God for discernment to understand good and evil, to understand who really has you, who's really going to push you further up the ladder, and who's going to try to be there to bring you back down that ladder because they are afraid or they are jealous or because they're hating on you because God just elevated you. These are the things we should be asking for, and the rest God will take care of. But ask for what you need. God is saying be more specific, and you're asking. And again, the only way to be more specific is to understand your situation. Specific being clearly defined or identified or a precise detail. It says, God said to him, because you have asked this thing and have not asked for long life for yourself, because I can give you that, nor have asked for riches, because again, I own that, so I can give you that for yourself, nor have asked for the life of your enemies, because you know that your enemies are taken care of, because I said that vengeance is mine, says the Lord. So you ain't got to worry about that. You ain't got to waste your time or your energy on them, because I got that. And so he says, but ask for yourself understanding to discern justice. Because you are so wise to ask for this, I'm going to grant you this. And because you didn't come to me and ask for something so foolish, I'm going to honor this. It pleased God so much that Solomon asked for that, because it allowed God to understand that Solomon understood the depth of his test right now. He understood the depth of his journey. He understood the depth of his position. And he not only understood it, but he knew that, God, I can't walk into this position without you. I can't handle this position without you. I can't even understand or begin to grasp this position without you. And so it says in verse 12, behold, I have done according to your words. See, I have given you a wise and understanding heart. Ask and you shall receive. I have given you a wise and understanding heart, so that there has not been anyone like you before you, nor shall any like you arise after you, because you asked for something so profound, because you asked for something in a time when you could have asked me for anything, but you asked me for something that was so relevant to your calling in your life. God has called you to a place of leadership. God has called you to a place of prayer. God has called you to a place of being an inspiration, of being a light. Ask for the necessary things in these fields that God has called you to, and the rest will be taken care of. This is what pleases God. When we understand, we'll never fully be able to understand God. We'll never be able to fully understand the way he thinks or the way he does things. But just to have a glimpse to say, God, I know you're doing something great. I know that you're getting ready to do something in this time or in this area or in this season of my life that is far beyond anything that I can ever even just comprehend. So this is what I'm going to need. Forget all the other stuff. I'm going to need you. I need you the more. I'm going to need a deeper prayer life. I'm going to need a deeper study life in my word. I'm going to need a deeper revelation. I'm going to need a deeper connection with you in the spirit, so that I'm not moved by flesh, that I'm not moved by emotions, that I'm not moved by my past, that I'm not moved by the first thing or the first person that presents themselves to me, that I'm not moved by certain opportunities or certain doors, but that I'm moved by your spirit and your spirit alone. Understand God and understand your situations and your circumstances. So it says in verse 13, and I have also given you what you have not asked. See, I have also given you what you have not asked. See, God said in 11, you didn't ask for long life. You didn't ask for riches. You didn't even ask for me to take the life of your enemies. But because you asked me for wisdom and an understanding heart, not only am I going to give you that, but guess what? You know that bill that you need paid next month, or you know that bill that you need paid today, or you know they about to foreclose your house, or they about to take your car, or they about to fire you on your job, or they think they about to fire you. Those things that you didn't ask me for, guess what? I know what's really on your heart. I know what you're going through. I'm not blind. I'm God. I'm all seeing. I'm omnipresent. I'm omnipotent. I'm everywhere. I know what's going on. I understand your situation. I understand where you are in life. So in order for you to know that I am God, and for you to trust me and to have faith in me, guess what? Those things that you didn't even ask me for, that you should have asked me for, that was just breaking your heart, that you were just saying, God, I really, really want to ask you this, but I understand that this is far beyond what I'm going through, and that my situation has nothing on who my God is, or that my God is bigger than my mountain. And that my God is bigger than my mountain, and that whatever it is that I'm facing and going through right now is not too big or too much for my God to handle. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask for what I need, and I know that you're going to take care of the rest for me. So God said that I have also given you what you have not even asked me, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be anyone like you among the kings of all your days. And at the end of the day, God is trying to get us to understand that there are more important things in life than just the little things that we stay fixated on, that the little things that we stress over, the little things that we take so much time and energy out of our days to stress over, to cry over, to be heartbroken over, to be depressed over, to be sad over. God is trying to get us to understand that life is deeper than that, that the calling is deeper than that, that the walk and the journey with him is deeper than that. And we have to understand that. And so what he told Solomon is that since you are understanding your journey, since you are understanding where I have you, since you are understanding what's going on in your life right now, and you understand the greatness of this position that I have put you in, and you have asked me for what was necessary and relevant, not only am I going to give you what you asked for, but I'm going to give you what you didn't ask for. I'm going to give you what you didn't even know you needed. Because yeah, you know you need that, but you didn't even know you needed more love, or you didn't know that you needed more strength, or you didn't know that you needed more growth, or you didn't know that you needed more salvation, or you didn't know that I knew about the things that was weighing on your heart, but you thought I forgot about you because you thought I was taking forever, or you thought I wasn't going to come through. But just because I didn't come on your time, it doesn't mean that I won't be on time. It doesn't mean that I won't show up, and that it doesn't mean that I'm not faithful to the ones that I created, to the ones that I bred my breath of life into, to the ones that I have created with purpose and with destiny. I am faithful to do whatever it is that is upon your heart, as long as you are living a life that is pleasing to me. And so it says that I have also given you what you have not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be anyone like you among the kings all of your days. So here it is. If you walk in my ways to keep my statutes and my commandments as your father David walked, then I will lengthen your days. Then Solomon awoke, and indeed it had been a dream. And he came to Jerusalem and stood before the ark of the covenant of the Lord, offered up burnt offerings, offered peace offerings, and made a feast for all his servants. Now 2 women who were harlots came to the king and stood before him. Here is Solomon now understanding that the things that he asked for was not only something so great and so profound at the time that he asked for, but he understood that now the things that I asked for were things that I asked for that will prepare me for such a time as this. That were things that were necessary and that were relevant to my purpose and to my calling, because God doesn't put me in a position, or God doesn't put me in a place to lead people, and that he won't give me the wisdom or the knowledge or the things that I need, or it's not that God can't see what's coming up even when I don't even know what's coming up. But see, I asked for something, but I didn't understand that the word would meet me later on down the line, or later on down in my journey, or further along 2 months or 3 months or a year from now, that the things that I asked God for a year ago, I didn't understand what I was asking him for really, but I didn't also know that they would come in handy for such a time as this. The goal is to ask for things that are attached to your purpose, because you never know what situation will arise along your journey. When God puts you in a position, he ain't just put you there just so you can flourish in the position. He put you in a position so that you can do the work that he has put you there to do. God places you in situations. God places you in places because he knows that I can use you here. He knows that I can use you to pray here. I can use you to encourage somebody here. I can use you to be a light here. I can use you to help bring someone out of something that they are going through when they think that this is the end of the road for them. But God has sent you for such a time as this, for such a moment as this, for such an opportunity as this, to bear witness that God is real and that God is able to do exactly what this person has been crying day and night, stand up, losing sleep, not eating, feeling sick over, because they're praying and asking, God, are you real? God, are you able to do this? And God has sent you to be the one to say he is able. He is the great I am. And so it says, now 2 women who were harlots came to the king and stood before him. And one woman said, O Lord, this woman and I dwell in the same house, and I gave birth while she, was in the house. Then it happened the 3rd day after I had given birth that this woman also gave birth. And we were together. No one was with us in the house. There's no witnesses except the 2 of us in the house. And this woman's son died in the night because she lay on him. So she arose in the middle of the night and took my son from my side while your maidservant slept, and laid him on her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. That's what the enemy tries to do. The enemy wants to give you dead situations. He wants to take the live situations that God has blessed you with. He wants to take the blessings that are so ever present or alive in your lives, and he want to make them dead situations. But God is here to say that I will avenge you even of that. And I understand that what I have given you is going to give you life. And the devil's going to come and try to rob that, but no weapon formed against you shall be able to prosper. Or no matter what the devil think he's going to do, God is still in control of everything. And so the devil think he won, but at the end of the day, he won't have the victory, because God said that the victory is yours. So it says that, and this woman's son died in the night because she lay on him. So she arose in the middle of the night and took my son from my side while your maidservant slept, and laid him in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. You got to be careful with who's trying to place dead things in your life, who's trying to place situations in your life that you ain't got time for, because God is trying to do something much greater in your life. And you got some people that's going to try to come and dump their mess on you. You got some people that's going to try to come and burden you, or try to come in, break into your life and place things in your life that God has not called to your life. But you got to be willing to stand up for what is yours. You got to be willing to fight for what is yours. You got to be willing to go to bat for what is yours. And so it says that, and it says, and when I arose in the morning to nurse my son, to nurse my gift, to pray, to seek God, to pour into my purpose, to pour into my destiny. When I arose in the morning to do these things, there he was dead. There was the devil. That's why when Paul said, when I go to do good, evil was always present. You have to understand that. You have to understand that. And so it says, and when I arose in the morning to nurse my son, there he was dead. But when I examined him in the morning, indeed, he was not my son whom I have born. This was not mine. God did not give me this. I know my God, and I know what he's able and capable of doing. And I know that he wouldn't just give me any and everything, but I know what he gave me. I know the task that he gave me. I know the role that he gave me. I know the position that he gave me. I know what he gave me, and this is not what he gave me. This is not what I gave birth to. So it says, then the other woman said, no, but the living one is my son, and the dead one is yours. And the first woman said, no, but the dead one is your son, and the living one is my son. Thus they spoke before the king. Now here goes that profound ask that Solomon had asked God for, when God said in verse 5 to ask, what shall I give you? And in verse 9, Solomon says, therefore give to your servant an understanding heart, to judge your people, that I may discern between good and evil. For who is able to judge this great people before you? See, he's asking for it before he even reaches the situation. He's asking for these things before he even knows that this situation is going to arise, or that he's ever going to meet two harlots, or that he's ever going to be in a situation to where he's going to have to judge between who's really telling the truth and who's lying, or whose baby this really is and who's trying to just take somebody else's baby because they made a mistake in their life, and now they're trying to take your blessing, and now they're trying to step on your toes, and now they're trying to step in your way of what God is trying to do in your life. See, God, I need you to give me an understanding heart so that I won't be deceived when this lady comes and tells me that she took her dead son and put him in the bosom of this lady who had a son that was well and living, and claimed him as her own. I'm going to need that later on down the line. But see, I don't understand that now. But look, I'm just asking you, because I understand with much is given, to whom much is given, much is required. And I understand that with the greater the task, or the greater the levels, that the greater the burdens is, the greater the calling, that I'm going to need, you more along the way. And I understand that what you have placed on me is greater than what I can just bear myself. So again, God, this is what I need: an understanding heart to judge your people between good and evil. So here it is, this situation arises, and now Solomon finds himself in a situation to where he has to be able to judge. Now imagine if he would have said, God, let me get some riches. God, let me get some more chicken and collard greens. Let me get some more. Let me get a new whip. Let me get a new house. Let me get this. But then here comes this situation, and this lady say, hey, yeah, this lady stole my baby, and she gave me her dead baby, and then she took my baby that was alive. And then now Solomon all up there like, yo, I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. Who took what baby? Who did what? Because he didn't ask for what was necessary. This is what God is wanting us to see. Again, ask for what's necessary. Ask for what's relevant in your life. Ask for things that will propel you. Ask for things that will make you greater. Ask for things that will help you in situations when you are lost and don't know what to do. And so it says, and the king said, the one says that this is my son who lives, and your son is the dead one. And the other says, no, but your son is the dead one, and my son is the living one. The king said, bring me a sword. Now here comes wisdom. Here comes discernment. Here comes God. Here comes God's spirit. This is why it's so important to be led by God's spirit, and to be led by such an awesome, wise, and such a profound, and such a knowledgeable God who's great and awesome in all his ways. Because look at this. This is nobody but God. Then the king said, bring me a sword. Because God knows that a real mother ain't going to sit up there and allow her son to be cut in two. She gonna just say, hey, you can have it, so that the son can live on. See, when you really appreciate your blessings, you're not just willing to give it up for nothing. You're gonna want to see it live. You're gonna want to see your blessing flourish. You're gonna want to see your calling flourish at no matter what the cost is. You're gonna want to see it flourish. And so it says that, bring me a sword. So they bought a sword before the king. And the king said, divide the living child in two, give half to one and the other half to the other, right? So then the woman, it says, the woman whose son was living spoke to the king, for she yearned with compassion. See, it's good to have compassion, because if you don't have compassion, if you don't have a soul, if you don't have feelings, if you don't have emotions, if you allow yourself to be a cold-hearted person, you don't really care about what happens to other people. But see, this lady had compassion, and she yearned with compassion for her son, because I love my son more than I love the situation of what's going on right now. And I would rather see him live, even if he's not living under my roof, even if I'm not the one taking care of him, even if I'm not the one that's being called his mom, even if I'm not the one to see him grow. I have compassion enough for him. I have enough love. I have enough respect. I have enough gratitude for the situation, or for the fact that God has even blessed me with a son. It says, for her son. And she said, oh, my Lord, just give her the living child, and by no means kill him. But the other said, this is what happens when the devil comes along and trying to step on your toes again. But the other said, let him neither be mine nor yours, but divide him. See, the devil won't care. He's ready to just kill your blessings. He's ready to just cut you off. He's ready to just see you fail. He's ready to just see it at whatever it is that he has to do. He's ready to get rid of whatever it is that God has placed in your possession, that God has placed in your life. He's so ready for that to happen. But here comes God again. He may not come when you want, but he's always there on time. So the king answered and said, Give the first woman the living child, and by no means kill him. She is the mother. How do I know that? Because God has given me exactly what I asked for when I didn't know I needed, when I didn't know how important it would be on this day, 2 years from when I asked from it, or 10 years from when I asked from it, or 2 months, or a day, or a week from when I asked for it. But give it to her because she is the mother. And all Israel heard of the judgment which the king had rendered, and they feared the king, for they saw the wisdom of God was in him to administer justice. They saw that God was in Solomon. They saw that this man could not have done that on his own. This man could not have brought this message forth on his own. It's nobody but the glory of God. It's nothing but the wisdom of God. It's nothing but the understanding and the compassion and the knowledge of God that gets us through situations in our lives. But we have to rely upon God more than we rely upon ourselves. We have to rely upon God more than we rely upon our situations or the people that are around us. We have to rely on God the more, because when you rely on God, you will never be led wrong. When you rely on God, you will never be let down. When you rely on God, he gives you the necessary tools. He gives you exactly what it is that you need to make it through and to maneuver any situation that presents itself to you. Again, God is saying be specific in your asking, and don't only be specific, but know what it is that you're asking for. Understand your situation. That's how you get to know what you need to ask for. If I don't understand why I'm going through something, how can I ask God for something that I don't know that I need? But God, help me to understand my situation. Help me to understand the depth of what it is that you have just placed in my life, or that you have just allowed me to walk into or step into. Allow me to understand that, so that when I get that understanding, that now I can know that, God, I need to ask you for more wisdom. I need to ask you to open my eyes that I may see, open my ears that I may hear, open my heart that I may feel and have compassion. Know what you're asking God for, and stop asking for things just because you feel that it's going to be a fix for you. Most of the things we ask for are not long-term fixes. They're just sometimes temporary fixes. You know what I mean? And we have to, again, understand what's more relevant to our situation when we're asking God. But I pray that something was said that will encourage you all, again, to ask with purpose and ask knowing that God is able to do it. Take a page out of Solomon's book. Ask God for what you need, because again, you never know what situation will present itself to you along your journey and along your calling and your opportunities and all that you find yourself walking into. But trust God and continue to live holy and righteous in his ways and in his word and in his truth and in his commandments that he is commanding us to just trust him and to obey his voice and to obey his word. But God bless y'all and have a great rest of y'all day. Continue to keep me lifted in y'all prayers, and I'll continue to keep y'all lifted in my prayers. But God bless y'all. And again, thank you for your time.